Thank God, this incredible HFY masterpiece found you today. Witness the legend starting now. Vex leaned back in his command chair, mandibles clicking in what passed for a grin among the cauldron. Species. The holographic display floating before him showed a contract that made his 3 hearts skip in rhythm. 2 million credits for a single music target. A human girl. This has got to be a mistake, Bryn said from the pilot seat, his scaled music, fingers dancing across the navigation console. 2 million for one small female from that backwater planet. What did she do? Music steal a warship? Does it matter? Paul chimed in from the weapons station, her 4 eyes gleaming with greed. That kind of money could set us up for 5 cycles, maybe 10 if we are smart about it. Vex Music pulled up the target file. The image that materialized showed a young woman, maybe 20 standard years old, if he remembered human aging correctly. Brown hair, average height for music. Her species slim build. She looked like she could barely lift a cargo crate, let alone pose any real threat. Name is Kira. Vex Music read aloud, his translator chip rendering the human name into something his vocal cords could manage. Escaped from a research facility on Haven Prime 6 days ago. They want her back alive, unharmed. Quietly, Holt repeated, his sensor array music twitching as he processed the information. The tracker had been with Vex for 8 years, and his skepticism was usually music well earned. Why quietly? If she is dangerous music, why not broadcast a station-wide alert? Vex waved a clawed hand dismissively. Because she is not music dangerous. You paranoid fool. Look at her. She probably weighs less than a standard weapons pack. The facility just does not music want bad publicity. Losing a research subject looks bad for business. Research music subject. Bryn muttered, banking the ship toward Haven Prime's coordinates. Music. That is a fancy way of saying prisoner. Not our concern, music. Vex said flatly. We grab her, we deliver her, we get paid. Simple extraction job, the easiest money we will ever make. Paul pulled up the species file on humans. The data that scrolled past was underwhelming at best. Homeworld designated as Class 12 death. Music world, which made Vex snort. Every planet with predators and weather got classified as a death world these days. The Galactic Council had gotten soft. Says here humans have persistence. Music. Hunting instincts. Paul read, sounding amused. They chase music, prey until it collapses from exhaustion. How terrifying. Look at this. Holt added, pointing to another section. Average lifespan of 70 to 80 cycles. They live less than half as long as we do, and they still somehow manage to be a spacefaring music species. Impressive in a sad sort of way. Limited natural music, weapons. Bryn continued reading. No claws, no venom, no armored music. Hide. Relatively weak bite force. They compensate with tool use music. And social cooperation. He looked up at Vex. Boss. And GT, music. And GT. This species is basically prey. Pretending to be predators. Vex felt his music, confidence growing. With every word. 2 million credits to grab one soft. Weak, short-lived human who probably did not even have the sense to leave the Music station. This was going to be the score of a lifetime. How long until we reach Haven Prime? He asked. 4 hours, Bryn replied. I have already music, filed our docking request. We are registered as independent traders. Nobody will question our presence. Good. Holt starts scanning for our target the moment we are in range. She has been on the run for 6 days with limited resources. She will be tired, hungry, desperate. Probably hiding in whatever hole she could find. What if she asks for help? Paul asked. Haven Prime has security. What if she went to the authorities? Vex pulled up another music document. This one from the facility director. A Talgren music named Tav had signed off on the contract personally. The message was brief but telling. The local authorities have been informed that Kira is mentally unstable and prone to delusions. Vex read. Any claims she makes will be dismissed. We have full legal authority to retrieve our property. Property, Holt said quietly. Nice. Save your moral outrage, Vex snapped. We are bounty music hunters, not philosophers. The facility has legal claim. We execute the contract. End of discussion. Music. The ship hummed as it entered. Faster than light traveled the stars. Outside, stretching music into lines of light. Vex used the time to review everything they knew about their target. Kira had been at the facility for 3 years. No family listed, no known associates. She had been acquired, the file said. Music delicately. Through independent contractors. Traffickers. Vex translated mentally. Someone had grabbed this girl off her music homeworld and sold her to a research facility. It happened. The galaxy was a big place, and humans were new to the interstellar community. Some species music saw that as an opportunity, again not his concern. What kind of research music were they doing on her? Bryn asked, apparently unable to let his curiosity rest. Vex scanned the file. Behavioral studies. Adaptation assessment, standard. Xenobiology music. Work. They were probably just documenting how humans respond to different environments. Music. Testing their limits, that sort of thing. For 3 years. Holt said, seems like a long time. Music to study one specimen. Maybe she is a slow learner. Vex joked. And Bryn laughed. Only Holt remained quiet, his sensory music stalks focused on the data streams. Vex had learned to trust his trackers' instincts. But this time music, he thought the old hunter was being overly cautious. What could one human girl possibly do against 4 experienced music bounty hunters with military-grade equipment? The hours passed quickly. Vex spent music, the time checking their gear. Stun nets, neural disruptors, gravity restraints, everything they needed music for a clean, non-lethal capture. The contract had been very specific about bringing Kira back unharmed. The payout was structured so that any injury to the target would reduce their fee by 10%. Death of the target meant no payment at all. Fine by him. Vex preferred clean jobs anyway. Less mess, less attention. And GT, music. And GT, less risk. Dropping out of faster than light in 3, 2, 1. Bryn announced. Reality snapped back into focus. Haven Prime hung in the viewport. glittering orbital station the size of a small moon. Thousands of ships moved in carefully controlled music traffic patterns. Around it, a constant flow of commerce and travel. The station was neutral ground, a trade hub where dozens of species mingled freely. Scanning now, Holt said, his equipment coming online. Looking for human biosignatures. There are actually quite a few humans' music on Station 17 that I can detect. 17. Paul sounded surprised. I thought humans were rare out here. They are expanding faster music than anyone predicted, Bryn said. I heard they have colony ships heading to 6 different systems, music. Ambitious little creatures. Filter for female humans matching. Music our target's age and size. Vex ordered. Holt sensors music, narrowed the search. Got 3 possibles, sending you the locations now. Vex studied the data. 1 human female music in the upper residential district, probably a trader or diplomat. 1 in the medical sector, could be staff or patient, and 1 in the lower market district, the section of the station where people music went when they did not want to be found. That is our girl, Vex said, pointing to the 3rd signal. Lower markets, of course. Probably trading whatever she stole from the facility for food and shelter. Docking bay assigned, music. Bryn announced. Bay 47, Section 12. We will be on the opposite side of the station from the lower markets. Transit time about 20 minutes. Perfect. We go in quiet, we locate her. We use music, the neural disruptors too. Knock her unconscious. And we are off the station before anyone notices. Simple, clean, profitable. The ship shuddered slightly as Bryn guided it into the docking bay. Magnetic clamps engaged with a solid thunk. Vex stood, stretching his limbs and checking his equipment one final time. Holt, you are on point. Track her exact location. Bryn, you stay with the ship and keep the engines warm. Paul and I will handle the extraction. Questions? None of them had questions. This was routine work. They had done extractions 100 times before. As Vex music walked down the boarding ramp onto Haven Prime, his confidence was absolute. 2 million music credits. 4 hours of work, the easiest job of his career. He had no idea how wrong he was. The lower market district of Haven Prime smelled like every other station slum Vex had ever visited. Recycled air that had been recycled. Music one too many times. Cooking food from a dozen different species. The faint metallic tang music of desperation. Holt led the way through narrow corridors lined music with vendors selling questionable merchandise. His sensor array pulsed softly as he tracked their target. She is close. 200 m ahead. Moving slowly music through the food stalls. Is she alone? Vex asked, one hand resting on his neural music disruptor. Appears to be. No other biosignatures music. Within 10 m of her position. Perfect. Vex felt his anticipation building. 2 million credits, just 200 m away. They rounded a corner, and there she was. Kira stood at a food music vendor stall examining something that looked like grilled protein on a stick. She wore plain gray clothing. And GT music. And GT, probably stolen or traded for Her hair was tied back in a simple tail. She looked tired, small, harmless. Vex motioned music for Paul to circle around, cutting off any escape route. The weapons specialist moved silently. Her species naturally music gifted at stealth. Holt positioned himself to block the opposite direction. It was a standard music 3-point containment. The target had nowhere to go. Vex approached directly, his disruptor held low but ready. Kira, we are here to take you home. Do not make this difficult. The human girl turned slowly and smiled. That smile made something cold slither down Vex's spine. It was not the smile of someone afraid. It was not even the smile of someone resigned to capture. It was the smile of someone who had been music waiting. Home, Kira said, her voice carrying that flat, emotionless quality humans' music used when they were being sarcastic. You mean the prison, the place where Tav and his friends poked and prodded me for 3 years. That home, the facility, has legal claim to you, Vex said, trying to regain control of the situation. You are their property under galactic salvage law. We are authorized to retrieve you. Come quietly and nobody gets hurt. Nobody gets hurt, Kira repeated, still smiling. That is funny. Really funny. She took a step backward into the alley, behind the food music stall. Holt, do not let her, Vex started to say. The tracker moved to block her path. And that was when everything went wrong. Kira's hand slapped against music. A control panel Vex had not even noticed. On the alley wall, warning lights flared, music red. A maintenance hatch above Holt slammed open and 3,000 L of industrial coolant dumped directly onto music, his head. The tracker went down screaming. His species was highly sensitive to temperature changes. The freezing music liquid sent him into shock immediately. What the? Paul started to say, raising her weapon. Kira was already moving. She grabbed a metal pole from the alley debris and swung it in a wide arc. Not at Paul's music body. At her weapon. The disruptor went flying, music clattering 20 m down the corridor. Then Kira did something Vex would have nightmares about for years. She analyzed Paul's music species in one glance and kicked the weapons specialist directly in her primary breathing valve. Paul collapsed. And GT, music. And GT, gasping and wheezing, all 4 eyes wide. With panic, 5 seconds. The entire ambush had taken 5 seconds. Vex raised his own disruptor. But Kira was already gone, vanishing into the maintenance tunnels with a speed that should not have been possible for someone who supposedly had been starving for 6 days. Vex stood in the alley looking at his 2 incapacitated team members and felt his confidence music shattered into 1,000 pieces. Bryn, he said into his communicator, his voice shaking. We have a problem. A big problem. Behind him, scratched music into the alley wall in fresh marks were words in Galactic Common. You should have walked away. Vex sat music in a rented room in the station's mid-level district, staring at his communicator like it might explode. Around him sat 8 additional hunters. He had called in for backup. 8 professionals from 6 different music species, all carrying enough firepower to take down a military squad. All of them looked nervous. Let me get this straight, said Greff, hulking Torvian mercenary who had fought in 3 wars. 1 human girl won. She took down 3 of your crew in under 10 seconds. 5 seconds. Vex corrected miserably. It was 5 music seconds. Lux, a Veltron infiltration specialist, studied the station schematics on her data pad. She is using the maintenance tunnels. Smart. She can move anywhere on the station. Music without being seen. We need to seal off sections, force her into a kill box. Not a kill box. Vex reminded her sharply. The contract music specifies alive and unharmed. Every injury costs us money. Assuming we even catch her. Dren muttered. The tech expert had been reviewing security footage. Look at this. She spent the last 6 music days mapping every centimeter of these lower levels. She knows where every camera is, every blind spot, every emergency system. She has been preparing. Preparing for what? Gref demanded. She is 1 person. We are 11 trained music hunters with military equipment. The odds are absurd. Vex wanted to believe that he really did, but something about that smile kept music haunting him. We do this systematically, he said, trying to sound confident. 3 teams of 3 plus 2 guards on the ship. We sweep section by section, grid by grid. She cannot hide forever. Eventually, she will make a mistake. Famous last words. Over the next 12 hours, Kira picked them apart. Gref went first. The massive Torvian was sweeping Corridor 73 when the gravity music plating beneath him suddenly reversed. He slammed into the ceiling hard enough to crack 2 ribs music, then dropped when gravity normalized. By the time his team reached him, he was unconscious and Kira had vanished again. Lux lasted longer. She actually managed to corner Kira in a dead-end corridor. Then the human girl triggered a fire suppression system. That music filled the entire area with foam designed to suffocate oxygen-based fires. It also suffocated oxygen-breathing species. Lux barely made it out alive. Dren thought he was clever trying to track Kira through the station's computer music network. He found her signal, started tracing it, and did not realize music until too late that she had hacked his own equipment. His data pad overloaded music, sending an electrical surge through his neural interface that knocked him out cold. 1 by 1. They fell. The worst part was not the traps. It was the psychological warfare. Kira left music, messages everywhere, taunting notes in galactic common. Getting tired yet? Maybe try looking up music next time. I thought bounty hunters were supposed to be good at this. Bryn started having panic attacks and refused to leave the ship. 2 of the reinforcement music hunters quit outright, forfeiting their shares of the contract. Another 3 were in the station medical bay after 18 hours. And GT music. And GT only Vex remained mobile. He sat alone in that rented room. And GT music. And GT watching security footage of Kira casually strolling through a market, buying food with credits she had somehow acquired. She looked completely music relaxed, like this was fun for her. His communicator pinged. A message from an unknown sender. You have been hunting me for a day and a half. I could have killed all of you a dozen times. I did not. That was mercy. You get one chance, Vex. Walk away. Leave this station. Forget you ever heard my name, or I stop being merciful. Vex stared at the message for a long time. Then, because he was stubborn and proud, and too invested to quit, he made the worst decision of his life. He typed back one word. No. Vex spent the next 6 hours building one he thought was the perfect trap. He used every favor he had, called in every debt, and spent music half his expected payout, bribing station officials to look the other way. He rigged an entire cargo bay with sensor nets, motion trackers, and automated stun music fields. Every entrance was monitored, every air vent sealed, every possible escape route blocked. Then he leaked information through the station's criminal network. Information about a ship leaving Haven Prime in 3 hours. A ship that music could take a stowaway all the way to the outer rim. No questions asked. A ship that would be loading cargo in Bay 19. The bait was set. Vex waited music in the shadows of the cargo bay, his disruptor fully charged. This time their music would be no mistakes. This time he would get his 2 million credits and salvage what was left of his reputation. 2 hours passed in tense silence. Then the bay door opened. Kira walked in. Not sneaking, not hiding. Just walked right music through the main entrance like she owned the place. Vex triggered the trap. Sensor nets music deployed from the ceiling, stun fields activated across every exit. Motion trackers locked onto music her position. Automated turrets emerged from the walls, all set to non-lethal settings. It was beautiful. It was perfect. It was foolproof. Kira looked around at the trap with something approaching admiration. Not bad, she said. You actually learned something. I am almost proud. Then she pulled a small device from her pocket and pressed a button. Every system in the cargo bay died simultaneously. The sensor nets fell limp. The stun fields flickered out. The turrets powered down with sad mechanical whines. Even the lighting cut to emergency backups, plunging the bay into dim red illumination. You spent 6 hours setting this up, Kira said conversationally. I spent 6 days hacking every system on this station. Did you really think I would not notice you buying sensor equipment? Did you honestly believe I would walk into a trap without already owning it? Vex felt his last shred of confidence crumble into dust. How? He managed to ask. How did you do any of this? You're human, you are prey. You should be weak, defenseless, easy. Easy? Kira interrupted. There was an edge to her voice now. An anger that made Vex take an involuntary step backward. You know what is easy? Underestimating music, someone because of what they look like. You know what else is easy? Dying because you were too arrogant to do actual music research. She walked toward him, and Vex found himself backing away despite having music, a weapon, and being twice her size. You read a file that said humans are persistence music hunters. Kira continued. Did you bother to understand what that means? It means we do not give up, ever. We chase our prey for music days, weeks, months if we have to. We track, we plan, we adapt, and we never ever stop. The facility, Vex stammered. They said you were a research subject. Behavioral studies. Kira laughed, but there was no humor in it. Is that what Tav told you? Research. Let me tell you what really happened. Music Vex. When I was 17 years old, I was kidnapped from a colony transport by traffickers, sold to a facility run by Tav and his business music partners. You want to know what they researched? She was close now. Close enough that music Vex could see the fury burning in her eyes. They researched music, how long humans could survive in hostile environments, how much pain we could endure, how we would music react to isolation, starvation, psychological torture. They were documenting human limits so they could sell that information to slavers across the galaxy, making instruction manuals on how to break us. Vex felt his stomach twist. For 3 years, I was their test subject. And you know what I did during those 3 years? I studied them right back. I learned every species' weakness, every cultural blind spot, every assumption they made about humans being weak and music stupid and easy to control. I memorized guard rotations. I hacked their computers 1 byte at a time. I made friends with other prisoners and learned everything they knew about the station. I did not know, Vex said quietly. The contract did not say music. Of course it did not say. Kira snapped. Because Tav and his music people are criminals, traffickers. They have connections with authorities. Bribes in music place, legal. Protections bought and paid for. And they knew that if I escaped and told people what they were doing, their entire operation would collapse. She pulled out a data music chip and tossed it to Vex. He caught it reflexively. That contains everything, music. 3 years of evidence. Names, transactions. Locations, music of other facilities. Testimony from 17 other prisoners. Found records of. Enough evidence to put music, Tavi and his entire organization away for the rest of their very long lives. Vex stared at the chip like it was a live explosive. Why are you giving this to me? Because you have a choice. Kira said. You can keep hunting me. You can try to drag me back to that place. Maybe you will even succeed eventually. I am good, but I am not invincible. Or you can help me expose music. These people. You can take that evidence to the galactic authorities. The real authorities. Not the corrupt music, station security that Tav owns. And if I do that, I get nothing. Vex said. I lose the contract. I lose music too. Million credits. I lose whatever reputation I have left. After you humiliated my entire crew. True. Kira agreed. But you get to live music with yourself. You get to know you did not help slavers and torturers continue operating. You get to look at yourself in whatever reflective surface your species uses and not see someone who sold a trafficking victim to her abusers for profit. Vex looked at the data chip, looked at Kira, looked at his disruptor, still clutched music uselessly in his hand. You could have killed me, he said slowly. Any of those music traps. You could have made them lethal. Why did you not? Because you are not evil. Kira said simply. You are greedy and arrogant and you make terrible decisions. But you are not evil. Tav is evil. His partners are evil. You are just a bounty hunter who took a Contract without asking music. Enough. Questions. How do I know this evidence is real? Vex asked. How do I know you are not lying? Kira pulled out a communicator and tossed it to him. Call the Terran embassy on Haven Prime. Ask for Ambassador Yana. Tell her Kira sent you. She has been looking for me for 2 weeks. She will verify everything. Vex activated the communicator with trembling hands. The call connected. A human woman's face appeared. Music on the screen, middle-aged with tired eyes. This is Ambassador Yana. Who is this? My name is Vex. Music. I am a bounty hunter. I was hired to retrieve a human girl named Kira. She says you can verify her story. Yana's expression changed instantly. You found Kira. Is she safe? Where is she? She is standing. Music right here. She gave me a data chip, evidence about a trafficking operation. Thank the stars. Yana breathed. We have been trying to locate her since she escaped. The facility claimed music. She was unstable, but we knew something was wrong. If she has evidence, we need it immediately. Those people have been operating music for years, and we have never been able to prove anything. Vex looked at Kira, at the girl who had systematically dismantled music, his entire operation, without killing anyone, at the human who had survived music 3 years of torture and come out strong enough to fight back. I will bring you the evidence, music, he said quietly, and I will testify about who hired me and why. He disconnected the call and looked at Kira. The contract is void. You win. We both win. Kira corrected. You get to be one of the good guys for once. Feels nice. Music, does not it? Vex did not answer. But as he walked out of that cargo bay, data chip secured in his pocket, he realized something. Music, important. Humans were not prey. They never had been. And anyone in the galaxy who thought otherwise was about to learn a very painful lesson. 3 weeks later, Tav and 17 of his associates were arrested in coordinated raids across 4 music systems. The evidence Kira had compiled was airtight. The trafficking operation was dismantled completely. Vex never music worked as a bounty hunter again. He became a consultant instead, helping law enforcement understand criminal networks. The pay was worse, but he slept better. And across the galaxy, a new warning music began spreading through the criminal underworld. Never hunt humans. They are not what music they seem. And if you are unlucky enough to go after one who has had time to prepare, you have already music lost. You just do not know it yet.